Hello and welcome back to my channel, or welcome to my channel in the first place. Today we have a Sakusa listener. It's Your Hand in Mine will go by Moonlit Writing on AO3. The link will be in the description along with their Tumblr, and let's go ahead and get into it. Sakusa walks a little too fast, his long strides at a pace that you aren't sure you can keep up with. You've only noticed this recently, a minute detail that has been standing out for a few weeks now. Bits of your restless mind actively pays attention to it whenever the two of you go out. Sakusa isn't much of a fan of stepping in public and walking amongst crowds. Neither are you, really, but on the days that you've warranted to leave the house, like for groceries or social commitments, you find yourself trailing behind him almost all the time. You could pick out the back of his head in a busy street with ease at this point. Recognize the slight curls of his hair and the way they brush against his nape. You don't particularly have a problem with it, and neither has Sakusa ever brought it up, or ever told you that you walk too slow. He's always only a few steps ahead, and it's at the traffic lights or the intersections just before crossing the road that he waits for you to catch up. But your thoughts have been rather unkind lately. Your mind occupied with open-ended questions about where you're headed, in a more figurative sense, future-wise, and whether or not that's where you wanted to be. Sakusa, though he generally sports an attitude of indifference, actually knows exactly what he's going after. His goals and ambitions are outlined for him like an instruction manual, and he knew how to go after them, what sort of risks he was willing to take. It's what you loved most about him, what you found most attractive. In contrast, you're a bit of a pantser when it comes to decision-making, putting a great deal of trust in your instincts and your gut feelings. If something doesn't sit remotely well in your chest, you bolt. But when you gravitate towards something, when your heart erratically contracts and expands in your body, and your blood pumps at the very thought of wanting something, you go after it. Some say it's a good thing, sometimes it is, but it's not the ideal response for when someone asks you what you're planning to do. When you think of the good it has brought you, you recall that it's how you ended up with Sakusa after all, how your blurted confession catches him by surprise one night. It seemed that Sakusa took a liking to your persistence at the time, finally greeting you with a slight smile when he sees you standing around the telephone booth between his training venue and the train station, as you did every Wednesday for a few weeks. You claim that on Wednesdays you so happened to routinely meet a friend in the area, which coincided with a walk home with him. You were happy to find you lived close to each other, and eventually he too welcomed your company, leaving you more than starstruck when he expressed it so. You and Sakusa, then, were dubbed an unlikely pair, polar opposites, night and day, hot and cold. You thrived off of physical affection, but Sakusa needed his space. He had very structured morning routines, starting 5:30 a.m., whereas you sometimes slept in all the way to noon. You liked to work with music playing in the background, and Sakusa couldn't concentrate with that much noise. It was hard at first, maybe, but you never believed anything worth having would be easy from the get-go. Over time, you notice that Sakusa would seemingly cling to your back when he notices that you're feeling a little off, or leave home with a kiss to your forehead when he knew he'd be coming back late. Then you two made some sort of effort to get up at 6 a.m., even if you snuck in a short nap later in the evening, and with the background noise, you both found middle ground in Googling natural ambiances, cricket sounds, waterfalls, and all that. This was the definition of that give and take all the songs go on about. Sakusa was extremely good at it, and you learned that with him. You were too. But not everything persists in sunshine and sparkles, and not everything is always good all the time. Sakusa was recently chosen to represent the country in playing volleyball for the Olympics, as you expected him to be, and though you could not possibly hold back the tears when he broke the news, or cap the amount of pride you have over his endless list of accomplishments, you can't help but stare in the mirror and wonder if you're on par with him, or if you've ever been at all. Sakusa Kiyomi, who is always reaching new heights, and you, who had been rather stuck in place for some time now. You feel like you're not moving forward, not really getting anywhere, just stagnant, maybe even taking a few steps back. The thought extended that of work promotions or improving in a skill set. You've just been feeling like you're not getting any better as a person either. You know Sakusa would be willing to listen to whatever ramble you've bottled up your sleeve, but you're in the kind of limbo where you're unsure he could completely understand if you told him. Maybe he would, but you're also afraid that saying something aloud would only make you feel smaller in his presence. You didn't want to become resentful, didn't want the thought that you didn't deserve him to ever infiltrate your mind. Up ahead, Sakusa is waiting by the traffic light, his torso twisted back to face you. You don't notice that he's standing there waiting until you walk smack into his chest. His hand reaches up to smooth down your hair before you can jump back in surprise, and he says, "Love, watch where you're going." The light turns green, and the few other pedestrians begin to move, but your feet are planted in the sidewalk, and Sakusa doesn't move either, a thumb gently holding your chin up to face him. He can sense the turmoil within you. "Is something wrong?" he asks. There's a genuine concern in his gaze, a noticeable frown in his brows. Everything about the way he looks at you is so tender, though, that any fear he wouldn't understand you washes away. You know very well that Sakusa is attentive, even when he sometimes acts like he's not. He was also patient, even when he pretends that he's not. But your thoughts race against your tongue, and you seem to skip all the internal dialogue you just recited, and instead blurt out, "I don't know where I'm going, Omi." Out of context, a random utterance out of nowhere. Sakusa could have thought you were simply asking where the both of you were currently heading, why either of you even bothered to step outside in this cold. But he knows what you said. I, and not we. He observes you for a little bit, and maybe it's only because it's Sakusa that he was able to catch the gist of what you really mean. Or perhaps you've mentioned the worrisome thought in passing before, and that he remembers. You're not sure. Instead, Sakusa reaches for your hand, his cold fingertips pressing into your warm palm. Without question, he pulls your hand towards his body and slips it into the pocket of his jacket. His thumb slowly rubs against your skin, and it feels warm. All the while, the light had turned red again, and new pedestrians are awaiting the next countdown a few steps away from you. You eye him, see how your sleeve ends in his pocket, like you are one entity, inseparable. When the light turns green, you both cross the street, Sakusa by your side, and his strides appearing much shorter than usual. You feel a bit of guilt inside of you, not wanting him to have to adjust and slow down to let you keep up. So you pick up the tiniest bit of speed, which only causes your body to accidentally knock against his. He squeezes your hand when you mutter an apology, but after a few moments, when you've both reached the other side, he purposefully bumps his shoulder against yours. You can't help but laugh when his knocking into you throws you slightly off balance, and Sakusa can't help but smile to see you like that too. Sakusa might not be the very best at words, but his presence alone is a reminder that he's always there with you, no matter how far ahead he gets. He'd be willing to look back and watch out for you as you made your own way to him. None of this was meant to be a race anyway, wasn't it? 2 steps back didn't mean you couldn't step forward again. You'll keep going, slow but consistent, and you're now reminded that nothing could possibly worry you like that. if Sakusa was willing to always keep your hand in his pocket. Alright, that's the end of this one. I hope you enjoyed. I hope you have a great rest of your day, night, whatever, and I hope to see you in the next one. Goodbye!